Good morning. Good morning, coffee moaners. Welcome to this wonderful realm of news you can use, news you can lose, news you can fuse, news you can ruse about, news. Morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Ellery, hope you had a lovely birthday yesterday. Welcome. If you're listening on podcast, do hit whatever subscription button there is. Follow us. We try to give you an independent, non-mainstream slant on mainstreamness. We talk from the heart. We're not experts, but we have an informed understanding of many things, and we have a totally uninformed understanding of some things. And so consequently, we like to share in that informed and uninformed way. Thank you so much. I am going to, straight after this, spend some time answering some of the comments. I won't be able to answer all, but believe me, they're all appreciated underneath the mental health upload that I did yesterday. Oh man, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? The mind, the heart, the soul, swings and roundabouts. You're on one minute you're up, next minute you're down. But that's the thing of life, isn't it? 1 minute you're up, next you're down. Sorry about the adverts, Ellery. It's the nature of the beast. It's how we can all remain independent. Morning, Anne Murray. Please do hit the subscription button and hit the notification bell. You will be notified of when we go live. Now, upcoming this weekend, incoming housekeeping for our family guests, our followers, etc., etc. We have a cook-along tomorrow night, Friday night. Nadia and Dina. It's not a cook-along though. It's a kind of watch-along, because they're going to be creating and magicking up some Halloweeny treats. And we're doing this in a sort of preemptive, almost vaguely organized fashion, quite mainstream linear TV way. Get some ideas tomorrow night for when it's Halloween the following weekend. I'm hoping there's some bogeys. I'm hoping there's some blood and bones and all the rest of it. So that will be tomorrow night. Due to various logistics, me and Nadia are trying to work out whether we can do a Sunday show tonight. Given the fact that we lost Chi-Chi, given the fact that we've been going through so much hullabaloo in our private lives, we may well end up we're trying to keep up with a missed Sunday show, but you may have to forgive us and let that one go or pass. But we're gonna wait and see how things are set for later in the day. So that's that. A new Home Time will be landing. A couple of movie reviews will be coming your way. Frankenstein, the new Guillermo del Toro film, that will be landing on the Popcorn Junkies podcast and on the channel. I think it's today. Oh my God, you're so good, Gabrielle. Oh my God, that's so true. Let me see. Just give me uno secundo, guys. I've just got to make a quick phone call for those of you listening. I've put my phone to my ear and I'm ringing someone, but it's not ringing. It never rings when you ring. What's that all about? It's not even ringing. Let me try again. I'm just making a quick phone call. Have a chat amongst yourselves. But thank you very much, Ellery Jones. Thank you very much for oh, fucking hell, that's annoying. What's going on? Let me try this. I need to phone my beau. Is it my beau? Is that what you call them? My beau, when it's someone you love? It's ringing. It's ringing. She hung up on me. Did she? Nadia remembered. No, this can't happen. Do not tell me this. She put something on her stories. Yeah, right. I bet she'd know she didn't. You're lying. That was 14 hours ago. She didn't put anything on her stories. Yes, you're right. 24 years ago today, in Lytham St. Anne's, I bought Nads a drink and things got tasty. They really, Lytham St. Anne's. Anyone from Lytham St. Anne's? We were filming in Blackpool. So it's not our anniversary. No. I don't know how to put this in a sort of politically correct way. This is a 24 years since we became entangled. Should we put it that way? 24 years since we became entangled. And someone suggested that she'd pop something on the she didn't put anything on a story. Down the hatch. I might surprise her later. I might wear a thong and buy an aspidistra and just lie there. Ophidia 26 bangiversary. In fact, do you mind if I use that? I'm going to just take a photo of that, and I'm going to blame it on you, Ophidia 26. I'm going to take a photo so I remember. Well, sometimes so much content flies through our phones that one has to photograph everything, and then sort of a point when you have a moment, a pit stop. Does anyone else do this? You go through your phone, you go, "What the fuck have I got that? What the hell is that? Why have I got an aspidistra? Why was I searching for a thong?" And then I'll see I've forgotten it already. What was it? Bangiversary. Anyway, yeah. It was, oh, I know what I should do. Ba-ding! I'm going to make egg mayonnaise sandwiches for her, and I'm going to stick a cigarette in the middle, because that's what I woke up to. I was like, fucking hell, this woman's rock and roll. Though it would be tomorrow morning that I woke up. So do I do it today or do I do it tomorrow? Can you tell? A bit ADHD. I've taken my meds, but fuck me, my head's just going all over the place. Right. Trump looks like a clown, says Dice Pineapple, saying, "I won't allow Israel to annex the West Bank." It's all got very confusing. Let's put it that way. It's all got very confusing. Okay, so what are we talking about? We are talking about the West Bank. We are talking about the fact that Israel, hi Jill, hola. We are talking about the fact that Israel has voted yet again to annex the West Bank. Remember, guys, don't take it from us when we say Israel's committing a genocide, indulging in ethnic cleansing, encouraging illegal settlements, illegally bombing other countries. We're not telling you that. We're not making assumptions. They tell us it themselves. So yes, the Knesset. So good they named it with a K. The Knesset has voted. It's the first of 4 required votes to formally make the West Bank fall under Israeli jurisdiction. We're going to talk about that. The grooming inquiry mess. It's a mess. And it's not to make light of the subject. It's the most serious subject, the most important subject. We touched upon it yesterday. We had a chancer saying, don't talk about what you don't know. I know what a grooming gang is. I know what it's about. But I also know that it's been used for political purposes. And I also know that those political purposes work both ways before Fat Terry gets his knickers in a twist. Do you remember Fat Terry? I wish Fat Terry came back. Hey, Tezza, come back and troll us. Bangiversary, Jill. 24 years since they got together. Are we explaining this? Interesting that people are against. Yeah, oh, good. Thank you, Mark Holderness. I love the way. I really want to make this your space to highlight. I tell you what, Mark Holderness has opened the kind of account here. The other topics we're going to talk about: grooming inquiry mess, New York mayoral debate, shocker, and Mamdani just sucker punches Cuomo in his Cuomos. And we're going to talk about Trump's ballroom. And we've got, because I forgot yesterday, I've got a couple of clips now. They're coming out thick and fast of our dear, precious, tiny little Tommy Robinson, who's been interviewing people with microphones again. So we're going to have a chat about him. And I've got footage of 3I Atlas, the interstellar object that's going to change all our lives. And it could happen on the day I got sober. 28th of October, guys, 21 years sober. Don't count your chickens before they've egged. Don't hatch your chickens before they've egged. Don't count your chickens before they've hatched. What is it? Don't count your eggs before they've hatched? No. Don't count your chickens before they've roosted? Oh, might not make 21 if alien tech arrives. But Mark Holderness, I don't want to lose my track. I'm very ADHD today. Mark Holderness, interesting that people are against Russia annexing parts of Ukraine. Good point. I like where you're going with this, Mark. Yet are quite happy for Palestinians to accept it. This makes a viable Palestinian state virtually impossible. Well, annexation of the West Bank means a Palestinian state ain't happening. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Tiny chancer Tommy Robinson. He's a teeny tiny chappy, isn't he? His girlfriend was pretty active yesterday, wasn't she? Old Katie Flopkins. She was all over the place talking shit. Okay, so yes, no, I agree. What I want Mark Holderness to kind of launch here is think of some other gross and extraordinary hypocrisies, or exceptionalism. Like, for example, I'll give you another one. Starmer didn't need the ICJ to declare genocidal issues with what Russia did in parts of Ukraine, or with them issuing arrest warrants for Putin. But he seems a bit kind of po-faced when it comes to talking about it regarding his matey poops, Benjamin Netanyahu. Katie Flopkins. Nothing makes sense what they do, says Starlighter, but they don't care. You're right. And in a really weird twist of fate, I realized we did a chat the other day where my frustration was palpable, the exhaustion of trying to get these absolutely marauding, psychopathic, sociopathic, genocidal maniacs to understand the error of their ways. Sometimes, do you get this, guys? You sort of feel, where do I put all this energy? Where does it all go? Who's listening? How do we make people hear? And then, you know, someone like Zach Goldsmith comes along and you go, oh, you are a savior. You're saying what I feel. I mean, I hope we sometimes just we do that. We try to say what you feel. Oh, Russ Souch. What a wonderful invite. Russ has just invited us to his panto for part of Vlogmas. I know what we could do. Russ, I will be in touch. Anon. Oh my God. It's like drinking diesel petrol. Yeah, and so the only way sometimes to deal, on a serious note, with these quite staggeringly obvious contradictions, hypocrisies, exceptionalisms, what ifs, one set of rules for one, a totally different set of rules for another, is really to just go, that's what I'm beginning to think. We have to kind of laugh in the face of it all. And we have to kind of potentially challenge all of them to a dance-off. Because one of the things I've noticed with the likes of Farage, with Starmer, with Netanyahu, with Trump, none of them are good dancers. And I think the one category or area in which we might be able to trump them all is in dance. And we should lose ourselves to dance. And they will get lost to dance. Anyway, as you can tell, I've got Mike Graham, Axes from oh, right, I don't know who Mike Graham is. Who's Mike Graham? Oh, Zoe, get a coffee down, you darling. It's great. It's like strychnine. So let's do what we're here to do, shall we? Let's talk about briefly the grooming inquiry. Now, I feel a bit sorry for Jess Phillips in this. Jess Phillips, everyone having to come out in defense of Jess Phillips because 4 survivors who are part of the inquiry into the grooming gang horror, 4 women within the inquiry have accused Jess Phillips of betrayal over a letter where she described reports the scope of the inquiry could be expanded as untrue. 4 women have accused her of betrayal over a letter. They called for their victim liaison officer to go along with Phillips' exit and said this would mean the government was serious about accountability. The worry is here, or the feeling is here, is that the Labour Party are trying to steer things and the focus of this inquiry in one direction. We touched on it yesterday. Yeah, exactly. The problem is sticking up for Jess Phillips. They're playing into the right-wing strap. Yeah. So Jess Phillips is seen as this beacon. She's been a representative and she's fought for women's rights and the underrepresented and the put upon and the abuse victims for years. And so consequently, as I think someone else pointed out, I think there are 30 abuse victims in this inquiry, involved in this inquiry. 4 of them have taken issue with Jess Phillips. That does actually mean that 26 are okay with her being there. But it's not going away, this story, is it? It's kind of, anyway, so the children's minister, the government's children's minister, Josh McAllister, has insisted that Jess Phillips will remain the safeguarding minister, despite these 4 abuse survivors leaving. The government has full confidence in her, but the crisis that's engulfing the inquiry is getting worse, as these 4 survivors say that have accused Phillips of betrayal. The government have said she'll stay in post. Ministers are scrambling to get to grips with the inquiry and find a new chair, as both candidates they'd identified, a former social worker and a former police officer, withdrew this week. Who feels this is a bust flush before it's even got going? I mean, the problem that I think people feel is that Labour government officials within this inquiry are simply going to try and whitewash and make good any fuck-ups that were made by Labour councillors and Labour officials. And I think, you know, I don't trust any party. And I think I think, yes, I think that could be the case. Me too, hi, me too. A skeptic might even say that those 4 out of hundreds may be advised by right-leaning interest groups. Now, hey, Ellery, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. You make a really important point, Meacham, and this was kind of referenced yesterday. It's really hard, isn't it, when you're dealing with victims of abuse to suggest that anything they're saying is simply political. And I'll say it because we can here. But you can be an abuse victim and have a political agenda. You know, you can. The two things can work hand in hand. And we have no way of knowing the extent to which anyone in this inquiry has perhaps been influenced or has perhaps been, you know, ensnared in the politics of division, etc., etc. The thing that I always keep returning to on this is I don't understand why. And I mean, it might be that they just have to get to a point where they have no political. Thank you so much, Hallie Mabegum 786. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I think they might just have to get to, what do you think, Meacham? They'll just have to depoliticize the whole thing. Can you depoliticize the whole inquiry? Can you have completely objective people? I mean, presumably, like you said yesterday, Meacham, you have to have someone from the world of policing and someone from the world of social care. But as I said yesterday, how can any abuse victim trust anyone from those fields when those two sectors of society so spectacularly failed these victims? Toffee is with me. Toffee's just there. She's having a breather. Jess Phillips. Jess Phillips is a long-standing. I have to confess. I mean, I've always quite liked Jess Phillips. I mean, I don't like. My problem with nearly all Labour politicians now is I feel they're all compromised because they all just do what Starmer says. I mean, I look at Jess Phillips now and I think, oh, I used to like you, and then I think, well, what's your take on Israel? What's your take on Gaza? What's your take on Starmer? And then I lose track. But of course, they all have specialisms beyond that. And I think she has absolutely dedicated her life to improving the welfare and lot of the underprivileged. And so for me, I do feel personally, putting politics aside for a moment, that she's become a bit of a scapegoat. She is being targeted, as you rightly suggest, Mitra. Well, we don't know this. It feels like she could be being targeted through the lens of 4 of the abuse survivors as a means to get her out. I think someone needs to ask. Yeah, someone did ask her about Gaza and she didn't answer. A bit like old, what's his face? What's his name? Andy Burnham. Disappointing. Hasn't really said anything. That's a good point. See, Sherwood Zine makes a really good point. If you can't trust them on Israel, we can't trust them on anything. It's a fair assessment. It proves that their outrage on other issues is totally performative. You see, God, there's a whole podcast hours chat just on that, Sherwood Zine. I agree. To what extent does anyone feel on almost any topic, and I don't want this topic itself to get hijacked by the Gaza crisis, but it's really hard. I mean, I suppose that it's really hard not to have your views on all politicians and their takes on all things compromised when you then look at what have they said and done about something so egregious, so wrong, so awful. And I think a good comparative would be this. As I see lots of Israeli supporting celebrities, and you know them all, and media people on Twitter and everywhere kind of going, oh, I notice all these celebs aren't so outspoken about the things since the ceasefire, are they? Would anyone have said such a thing after the Holocaust? Or would we have stepped with respect? And would we have not been asking those who were released or didn't die in World War II, but were related to those who were caught up in the genocide and the Holocaust? Would we be demanding that everyone who represented them were cheering and just getting on board? Or would we perhaps be allowing them some time to either not trust it's ended, which it hasn't in this instance? I mean, you could argue that at the end of World War II, the Holocaust definitively ended at the point that the war finished. So when people get on board with this idea of, why isn't, notice all those kind of ceasefire celebs, all the celebs for ceasefire have gone a bit quiet. No, they haven't. They're responding to the constant breaking of the rules. But so when people say, oh, why do you have to look at everyone through the lens of this? I think if you went back to the post-war Europe, I think everyone would have made the same choices and decisions on people based on what their response was to that horror. Do you get me? So it does impact. You're absolutely, Sherwood sign, you're absolutely right. I just want to see that before I lose it. LTHOMO1. I went to see I Swear last night following the review. I remember watching the documentary. It did. You enjoyed it. Please do check out. Brilliant British film starring Maxine Peake, actually. And I forget his name, the actor, but he's sensational. Richard Ayoade? No, it's not Richard Ayoade. It's about Tourette's. Go and watch it. I Swear. I'll pop the review up here. What time are we? 2014. I'll pop the review up there. So yes, it is a difficult one, isn't it, to kind of get on board with anyone about anything. But this is, I would argue, just finally on the grooming gangs, I would say two things on this. I think you're hard pushed of all politicians to actually challenge Jess Phillips's integrity, commitment, and track record, really, on working for and striving for the underclass or the underprivileged or the undersupported women and abuse victims in this country. I think you would be. It's a really tough ask. So if these four members of the group, these four abuse victims, have in any way been, and I'm not saying they have, but have in any way been swayed by influence or outside forces, I think that's really reprehensible and awful. But at the same time, there are two parts of this grooming gang inquiry that I want to make clear. Even when I went on Talk TV that one time, Christo, who I love, he kept banging on about the grooming gangs as if people place the Pakistan grooming gangs on the table around migration and criminality and stuff. Does anyone else find this? It's plonked on the table like a gauntlet, like a fait accompli, like, hey, there you go, we're going to make that one then. How are you going to get rid of that one then? Like, what is the fait accompli of the, can I ask, is anyone here who supports reform? What is the kind of slam dunk argument behind the Pakistan grooming gangs? As in, there were lots of Pakistani grooming gangs in Pakistani neighborhoods that were covered up, potentially, it looks like, by the police, partly, James O'Brien reported on this on LBC, partly because the police were complicit, not because the police were being politically correct, but a lot of the police didn't want to become implicated through use of the girls or abuse of the girls and through covering up abuse of the girls. So there's that side of it. You then have covering up or not revealing or getting on board with it due to, yes, potentially, probably Labour ministers or councillors not wanting a skewed story to suggest that this was principally a Pakistani problem in the country. Grooming gangs in a Pakistani community is a Pakistani problem in a Pakistani community. But grooming gangs across the country will come in different shades of color and ethnicity and culture based upon the demographics of the population in question. And I've seen not as much fuss made of 2 or 3 Scottish grooming gangs composed of white groomers that have hit the press, but no one's kind of running around going, oh, all grooming gangs Scottish. So I think all these things are in this story. And so whatever inquiry happens has to flush out any cover up by governments in pursuit of not whatever the worry was, being accused of racism, any cover up that was conducted by the police because they were complicit. And yes, to understand why in that community, some Pakistani men in that community created grooming gangs. What was the idea? But I think you'll get quite a similar understanding of why it was happening in that community as you would analyzing it in any other community. Does that make sense? Janina M, police corruption has not gone away. No, and actually, I can't remember, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago when it wasn't in the news, actually. James O'Brien had a number of victims phone in and talk about the abuse they received. They were on the receiving end from in terms of police. Hi, Christos. Lovely to have you in the room. If there's the slight bit of corruption somewhere down the line, then it's very likely for something to be sidetracked or fall through because simply everything has and could have a price tag, sadly. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're kind of saying if there's any modicum of corruption in this story, then that is going to be, they're going to try and cover it up in a sense. Sue Treacher. Jess Phillips Jess Phillips needs to step back from direct involvement in the inquiry to gain the trust of victims and mainly to allow. Okay, no, that's the news story. That's what the other abuse survivors are saying. Why, Sue Treacher? I see what you're saying. I agree. That's the story. That's what they're saying. But why? I mean, they're saying that she is she's representative of the government and that she wants to broaden the remit. I think one of the major criticisms here is that she wants to broaden the remit of the inquiry so it doesn't just focus on grooming gangs. I think in principle, is that not a good idea? As long as it doesn't dilute the concentration on the grooming gangs inquiry. I mean, if you want to broaden it, is that not a good thing? MeTube, letting the inquiry progress and conduct itself quickly would take the propaganda power away from the Tories and reform. This is such an obvious tactical strategy. I can't see why the government don't see it. Because Starmer is like a fucking rabbit caught in headlights with everything. They're very unresponsive. They're not very nuanced, Misha. I know you're big supporters of Starmer, but I just don't think they're very nuanced. I don't think they read the room. It's like the way in which they ran at the Tel Aviv Maccabi football fan story. I mean, you know, part of me now wonders whether I really don't want to think it was a considered attempt to encourage violence. I think they genuinely thought they were fighting anti-Semitism, but it was so confused. It was such a blunderbuss of nonsense. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, I just want to, in fact, on that, on that topic, because we're just talking about the Maccabi fans, there's this piece here. Let me just find it. Research. Oh yeah, look at this, another piece. The Guardian. I'm really pleased the Guardian is homing in on this, and still we've had no comment, no apology, no rowback, no revision of statement from the government on the Tel Aviv Maccabi fans. But the Guardian is publishing this story today, which says that research reveals that racist chants are on the rise in Israeli football, with Maccabi Tel Aviv fans the worst offenders. Take that and shove it in your pipe, Shabana Mahmood. Kick It Out Israel which is a sort of civil funded kind of organization that looks at trying to create a shared society for Jews and Arabs. Kick It Out Israel has found that there are 367 instances in 2024 to 25 of racist chants and abuse on the terraces. And of those, 118 were linked to Maccabi fans. So once again, the intelligence was clearly telling us that the issue with the Maccabi fans coming to the Midlands was not about the threat to them from us, from you know, so-called anti-Semites, but it was their attitude to others. And still the government will not comment on this, nor apologize, nor recognize or acknowledge that actually they were a little bit too quick to make a wrong conflation between the ban and their perception that anti-Semitism in the UK has been increased and amplified by the peace protesters protesting against genocide, of which many of those protesting are themselves Jewish. Just one has to keep saying, apologies for ever feeling like I'm repeating myself, but it feels like one has to repeat oneself a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, moving over to the West Bank. This is just, here's the moment. Okay, so Israel's West Bank annexation. Look, we've got to a situation where even Marco Rubio, a man who looks like he's literally sold his soul to the devil, even Marco Rubio in the Donald Trump administration believes that Israel's West Bank annexation moves could be threatening the Gaza peace deal. No shit, Sherlock. Gaza doesn't exist. It's being chopped up for billionaire, oligarch, Israeli-backed people. And the West Bank, if the West Bank goes, what Palestinian? I'd like to ask Starmer, what Palestinian state are you recognizing now? When you say you recognize a Palestinian state, you said, I recognize the state of Palestine, and I know it's symbolic, but where? I mean, one has to, at some point, you have to get cartographers out with those wheels that draw yellow lines on the road, and you have to walk around and go, right, yeah, that bit on the left, Terry, that's Gaza, and that bit on the right there, yeah, that bit there, that's Israel. I mean, I know that Israel have taken 58% of Gaza and have created an even tinier Gaza Strip. Yeah, will Nandy, thank you. Will Lisa Nandy, Fiona Hennessy, will Lisa Nandy apologize for her lies? Her crass, dangerous. Politicians talk about the danger to them of hostile politics, etc., etc. And I agree. That's absolutely right. You should never threaten politicians or whatsoever. But when politicians, Burkish, stupid, sixth form-esque politicians like Lisa Nandy, start flapping the term anti-Semitism around with such disregard, it's seriously dangerous. I mean, seriously dangerous. They don't even know or realize, or maybe they do realize, they're absolutely playing with fire. So just on this, let me just take you to the bottom. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has warned Israel that against annexing the West Bank. Israeli lawmakers yesterday, get this guys, voted to advance two acts of legislation on annexing the occupied West Bank, only a week after Trump has pushed through the deal aimed at ending the 2-year Israeli offensive. Rubio said, "I think the president's made clear that that's not something we can be supportive of right now," Rubio said. Annexation moves are threatening for the peace deal. Asked about increased violence by extremists, Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the West Bank, Marco Rubio said, "We're concerned about anything that threatens to destabilize what we've worked on." It's quite shocking, and it's quite worrying, and it's quite concerning. I just want to find the we've got another story here about them not opening the Gaza Strip. But here's the moment. Just bear with me one sec. Here's the moment. Here's the moment that the Knesset decided to do this. As I understand it, they need to pass this bill needs to pass 4 times, and this is the first time it's been voted through.
25 בעד, 24 נגד. אני קובע כי הצעת חוק החלת הריבונות של מדינת ישראל בחבלי יהודה והשומרון, תשפ"ה 2025, של חבר הכנסת אבי מעוז, אושרה בקריאה הטרומית ותעבור לדיון בוועדת החוץ והביטחון לצורך הכנתה לקריאה הראשונה.
The bill will now need to pass 4 more votes before it becomes law. Its advancement comes at a time of heightened violence in the area. Now, any potential annexation of the West Bank, and I think we can proudly say we have been, as often as possible, when the distraction and the devastation of Gaza hasn't just been literally front and center, we have forever and repeatedly been dragging everyone's attention back to the West Bank. Because what you've got in the West Bank is what's happened in Gaza, but what happened in Gaza happened with steroids, with tons, 8 equivalent atomic bombs worth of bomb tonnage. But in the West Bank, it's been encroaching, and it's been a constriction, and it's been a division of the land. And for many other Arab nations in the region, Jordan especially, even the UAE, which is the Gulf state that's trying to normalize relationships with Israel a little bit too quickly, one could argue. As in, I think you need to negotiate more kind of with Israel, get Israel to behave itself more before you normalize anything. A red line is the West Bank. Now, of course, Trump's in this curious situation where his major donor, what's her name, Miriam Adelson, chucked hundreds of millions at his campaign. Part of the deal was that he would allow Israel to annex the West Bank. But I wonder whether behind the scenes what Trump and all of his team are saying is, look, we've almost got you Gaza, so just hold back on the West Bank. Don't push your gas pedal to the floor, guys. With the West Bank, hold it back, rein it in, slow down. I think that's what's going on there. But yeah, it's not good. Israel's West Bank plans and desires, and in a weird way, although Benjamin Netanyahu's party, as it said in that clip there, didn't actively vote for that, he doesn't need to know that it will get through. So he can sort of, in a weird way, keep Trump happy, or keep the international world happy-ish. and sort of claim, well, I didn't vote for it, but he knows that everyone else is going to vote for it. It's a little bit like when you watch the Settlers documentary, you know, Daniela Weiss, she's not formally supported by the government, but she's not formally not supported by the government either. In other news yesterday, the ICJ ordered Israel to allow aid into Gaza and declared that restrictions breached international obligations. The UN's top court also found Israel failed to justify blocking UNRWA, the relief agency run by the UN, and other relief agencies. The ICJ ruled that Israel must allow aid into Gaza and that its restrictions on doing so over the past 2 years have put it in breach of its obligations. This stinging advisory opinion by the ICJ in The Hague also found that Israel had a duty not to impede the supply of aid by UN organizations. The court found that Israel had not produced adequate evidence to justify ending cooperation with UNRWA. So do you remember all of that fuss and nonsense way back when they were claiming that UNRWA was Hamas, like everything was Hamas? Essentially, the ICJ have said, there's no proof of that. You were wrong. And what we're going to have now, this is kind of in a weird way, this will be the trickle, you know, the discord, the time discordance is ludicrous, isn't it? Because we're just getting a little sense there of too little, too late. The ICJ will rule in 2 years' time, probably, that Israel committed a genocide. But by then, everyone will have been moved out of Gaza and the West Bank will be fully annexed. And the state of Palestine that Starmer recognizes will be ephemeral because Farage will be shortly stepping into number 10 Downing Street. Do you see how there are two aspects to the way in which Israel and America and our complicitness in this have allowed Israel to succeed? There's been total sort of lack of action, and there's also just waiting for time to pass. And there's also been a total speed up of destruction. So you've had the devastation coupled with a total administrative slowness of all governments around the world. So the ICJ say that. And yes, you know, this would have been hugely significant if they'd said this a year ago. You know, but I mean, so I'd like to know what Sheila Fogarty and all those kind of so-called journalists in our mainstream media who refuse to acknowledge a genocide has been committed when the UN decides it, who keep referring to, well, but the ICJ, okay, well, the ICJ hasn't ruled fully on everything, but they've ruled on this. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to mention it? Do you want to flag it up? Do you want to say anything? Farida, it doesn't sting Netanyahu. So what if the ICJ says anything to Israel? Obligations and responsibility is a joke to them. They laugh at the ICJ. You're absolutely right. And I think, again, Farida, what you say there speaks to how we have to be mindful. And I'm saying this to myself. I'm saying it to Nadia too. We have to be careful about, and all activists, be careful how much you get your knickers in a twist. You know, the extent to which you allow them to torture us. Because you're not dealing with people who care. If they don't care, it's like, at what point in the playground of the bully who just doesn't care? You can't rationalize with him. You can't use evidence. You can't placate. You can't use warmth. You can't use diplomacy. You can't negotiate. You can't even befriend or kind of try and say, oh, maybe we should try a different way. No, they don't care. And if they absolutely don't care, you have to make a choice about your choices to lose your shit about it. You either keep trying to do what we're trying to do, which is publicize, keep the trickle of the news going, keep people plugged in, keep people aware that even though it's less overt what's happening at the moment, because the bombs have, relatively speaking to the genocide that's been conducted for the last 2 years, have slowed down or stopped. There is still control, and there is still erosion, and there is still ethnic cleansing. There's still apartheid, and the Palestinians still aren't free. I mean, the biggest truism right here, right now, is the Palestinians are no freer now than they were 4 weeks ago. Okay. I just want to show you, let's talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump and his ballroom. I just want to ask this, right? So Donald Trump's spending a couple of $100 million on a ballroom. He says it's all being financed through private money and all that kind of stuff. And I've got an AI film here that kind of, which is quite good. I mean, for me, AI, when people say AI, it's kind of like, it's like animation, isn't it? If this is I think of Polar Express was almost like the first AI film in a weird way. Anyway, so Donald Trump is building this fucking ballroom. Does anyone else, I just want to ask this question, does anyone else think that it's not about building a ballroom, but because it's a massive fucking thing. They're smashing it down. It's happening quite quickly. It seems really important suddenly. I mean, is he addicted to balls? I don't see him as a kind of ballroom kind of guy. He's not a great dancer and all that kind of stuff. He's knocked down the east wing of the White House. But I'm beginning to wonder, and I'm not wanting to kind of generate any conspiracy theories here, but do you think this is a front? Do you think it's a ruse for them to build something else under the White House? Does anyone know? Is there a bunker under the White House? Or could this be a security thing? Could this be about something else? Could this be a kind of facade? And a bit like a bat cave, he's sort of building a ballroom over something else. It's not about balls, is it? It's about putting his name on. Is it just ego? Is it just his name in lights? Is it really? Okay, here he is, just rambling on about it.
You know, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world.
Oh, great.
It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people.
Tables that hold 79 people? What is he blithering on about? Is this real? You see, I hear what you're saying, that this is about him wanting his name, saying it's going to be one of the biggest, the greatest ballrooms in the world. I can't even think someone tell me can anyone think of a famously big ballroom? I can think of the Blackpool ballroom underneath the Blackpool Tower. But I don't get it.
Of the White House and the ballroom. Many people were surprised the entire East Wing is being demolished, because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well,
touch
certain
it.
areas
What
are being
happened?
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. You know, the East Wing was not much. It was not much left from the original. It was over the course of 100 years, it was changed. The columns were removed, and it was a much different building. Then a story was added on in 1948, 1949. There was a story added on, which was not particularly nice. And the building was very, very much changed from what it was originally. It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years. You have that. I brought these along so people could see, but it's, you know, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it.
Does anyone else in America give a flying monkey's jollop about his fucking ballroom? I mean, he's got the Arc de Triomphe. I mean, really? I mean, I suppose my problem now is I don't. It's a bit like, you know, when Hegseth brought all of the leaders of the army to a hangar to tell them not to use beard oil and not be fat anymore. Really? Is it really? Is it really? I mean, good God, we're dealing with morons here. I mean, who wants a fucking ballrooms are horrible. If I'm really honest, when I see a ballroom, I just think conference. I think what they call whiteboards, and I think flow charts, and I think boredom, and I think having to sit at round tables with people you can't stand, talking shit. Unless it's going to be like his Arthurian. Is he going to knight people in there? Buckingham Palace Ballroom, but people can't go to Buckingham Palace Ballroom. It's not like a thing, is it? Is it a thing? I don't know. Is it? Are there people who are ballroom fanatics? Anyway, this is an AI film. I think kind of is quite politically on point, possibly for many, many Americans. Oh, there's Lance. We're now seeing every day, those listening, 4 Americans cross-cut against extraordinary affluence.
We erased them.
We made America great.
They're the Epstein files. Oh, there's Elaine. Takes it. Melania.
And that was the end of the first phase of democracy as laid out by the Founding Fathers, and the beginning of the healing.
The beginning of the healing? Really? Who thinks we're going to get out of this shit alive, guys? Who thinks we're just on a conveyor belt to hell? Or who thinks something... Being serious here for a moment, what's going to get us off this... What's it called? What are those escalators that are flat called? You know, a sort of, not predominant, what are the things that you get at airports? What's going to get us off the running machine, the walking machine? So that was a kind of satirical AI construct of the appalling contrast of real life for Americans, those Americans principally who also voted for Trump, and him creating a ballroom for the affluent and the wealthy. Does anyone else think Hegseth, I mean, obviously that was AI, but anyone else think Hegseth looks like a man who's taken 25 Viagra all at the same time? He's like, it's just sort of like about to burst, isn't he? Conveyor belt. I suppose conveyor belt, that's it. On that note, though, Melania Trump has issued a lawsuit against Michael, is his name Michael Wolff? The guy who's written 4 books about Trump. He's quite outspoken. He's on Instagram. He's on social media a lot. He's an odd guy. He's not exactly my cup of tea necessarily. But it's interesting. Melania is wanting to sue him because of claims he's made about Melania and Donald Trump's connection with and relationship with Epstein. I mean, I think in some circles there's a feeling that wouldn't it be bizarre? And this is hearsay. This is rumor, this is gossip. But wouldn't it be bizarre if you dug into Melania's American, American identity or American citizenship, if you were to discover she was somehow in any way sort of brought in or arrived in a sort of, I don't know, unclear fashion? I mean, let's face it, Donald Trump was very outspoken about challenging Obama's passport, wasn't he? But what about Melania's migrant status? Travelator, thank you very much. It feels like we're on a and it does feel like we're on a travelator to hell rather than an escalator to hell. It's sort of less interesting, and almost quite sort of easy to just sort of fall asleep on. But anyway, Michael Wolff is hitting back. This could be, they might have, Donald Trump and Melania Trump might rue the day that that they sought to sue this guy, because this guy is a dog with a bone, even though he's always on his veranda uploading on Instagram. This guy is, when he gets the bit between his teeth, he doesn't stop.
I have an announcement. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael Wolff. I've written 4 books about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
Just 1 second before we go any further, for any movie fans here, if anyone was to play Michael Wolff in a film, it has to be John Malkovich. Just putting it out there.
Donald Trump. And also before his death, I extensively interviewed Jeffrey Epstein, not least of all about his relationship with Donald Trump. I've spoken publicly about aspects of those interviews, including the things Epstein said about his relationship with both Donald Trump and Melania Trump. Several days ago, I was notified by lawyers for the First Lady that they intend to sue me for $1 billion for some of those statements. Now, they've threatened and sued other people for related statements about Melania Trump's relationship with Epstein. These are called slap suits. They may have no hope whatsoever of proving defamation, but these suits are filed anyway, or these suits are threatened to intimidate people from talking about this exact subject. I can't live like that. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I'd like nothing better than to get Donald Trump and Melania Trump under oath in front of a court reporter and actually find out all of the details of their relationship with Epstein. Turning the tables on the Trumps and refusing to acquiesce to them. Last night, my lawyers went into court in New York and asked for a declaratory judgment. In other words, we will have subpoena power to call witnesses and to find out exactly what the relationship between Epstein and the Trumps was. Now, this is going to be an expensive effort, and I'm going to reach out and for everyone's support. But I think that this is going to be also a very fruitful way to finally open this dark curtain and find out what Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein were doing together.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sarah. I'd love a porch like that, wouldn't you? I mean, our porch is buckling under the duress of roots. Yeah, why don't they build homes? Isn't it funny? We're all thinking about verandas. He takes a long time to say it, but basically, he's gonna slap them back. He's been slapped by Melania and Donald with a lawsuit. He's going to fight back, and in the fight back, he hopes that he'll be able to uncover the truth of the Epstein files. Who thinks it's going to go so swimmingly easily? I don't. If I was him, I would not be on a veranda in a wood saying that. Not with the state of America as it is at the moment. I'm just looking at the time, just realizing we need to move on. In the title, I was going to talk about this: personal attacks rather than policy, key takeaways from New York's final mayoral debate. All of us are rooting, well, I'm rooting for Mamdani. I can't stand Cuomo, but there were some pretty kind of, hair-raising moments in the mayoral. It was the last New York mayoral debate. I think if Mamdani wins, and he is favorite to win at the moment, he's going to be a real thorn in the side of Trump. But I think Trump is also going to be very much a thorn in the side of Mamdani. I would be astonished if Mamdani is in fact allowed to govern in the way that he would like to govern. But here's some excerpts from the final mayoral debate. And there's a particularly wonderful moment where Mamdani pushes back at Cuomo about the accusations of the abuse, the sexual harassment that it's alleged he engaged in with over 13 women in New York.
Decided to bump chests with President Trump to prove who's more macho. You can't beat Trump. He holds most of the cards. He's already cut federal funding for Medicaid.
He is hyper-aggressive, and he is going to overstep his bounds.
Talking about Trump.
He ran on creating the single largest deportation force in American history. He ran on going after his political enemies, and he ran on lowering the cost of living. If he wants to talk to me about the third piece of that agenda, I will always be ready and willing. But if he wants to talk about how to pursue the first and second piece of that agenda at the expense of New Yorkers, I will fight him every single step of the way.
The Jews, their time is due, which means the same thing. They're frightened, they're scared. They view you as the arsonist who fanned the flames of anti-Semitism.
What do you say to the 13 women that you sexually harassed?
So everything you just said was a misstatement, which we're accustomed to from you.
Stated was a misstatement?
Yes, because the cases were dropped. I'm not going to release 7,000 criminals into New York City.
So, just whilst we're on the topic of who would play who, John Turturro to play Cuomo. John Turturro to play Cuomo, John Malkovich to play Michael Wolff. We're getting there. Okay, let's. So I think it was felt that everyone who's decided who they're going to vote for in New York has decided who they're going to vote for. Let's hope. I hope Mamdani wins. But in winning, we could see an almighty response from Donald Trump in New York. I just want to show you this. This is the latest image, or an image that's circulating on social media, alleged to have been leaked from Japan. This cannot entirely be verified, but put it this way: weirdly, bizarrely, since talking about it on Coffee Moaning yesterday, things seem to have accelerated around the interstellar object 3I Atlas. The astronomer at the heart of most of the research around it is apparently to appear on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'll be watching that. And as I said, 28th, 29th, when I'm due to be 21 years sober, Freudian slip. On the 28th, 29th, it's due to reappear, apparently, from behind the sun, and we'll know a hell of a lot more. But look at this. If this were real, this would be quite staggering and quite worrying. It almost, if this is real, and it's a big if this footage leaked is real, it looks like a mini, I showed this to the girls, it looks like a mini solar system in and of itself. Of course, numerous kind of people have tried to kind of, doctor it or reduce the contrast. And, for some people, it looks like a spaceship. For others, it looks to me like a sort of almost like if it's moving, a sort of solar system all of its own, kind of moving through space. Put it this way, enough concern is out there that two things are happening. Numerous space agencies aren't saying as much as you would like them to say. Do they know more? Versus them also saying in a low-key, non-sensationalist, i.e., people don't run for the fucking fire exits and go mad. We all need to monitor this fucking thing. So 3I Atlas, the interstellar object, is gaining traction in the press and in the media. It does look like a constellation, Jenny, 0007, doesn't it? It does look like a constellation. But that's just one of many other different images that have been seen of it. And that's, and it's hurtling with speed. It's emitting odd metallic kind of, nickel principally. It's got an anti-tail, all these kind of things. That some are suggesting it's changed direction. Other amateur astronomers are saying it's slightly veering off. There's all sorts of stuff, and none of this can be verified, obviously. And there's big question marks as to whether, in fact, we're being told the full story. So there we go. But I just want to show you this clip. This is a moment. It's less about what the guy, I think the guy that Tommy Robinson is speaking to in this clip is he the leader of the Knesset House? I think he might be. But boy, is he a man who likes to talk, the Israeli government official. He likes the sound of his voice. And in a weird way, I never thought I'd say this, my heart goes out to teeny tiny Tommy Robinson in this clip, because not only is he still holding his giant microphone, he's got a giant microphone, but he's also at one point, I think about 42 seconds in, bear with me, he wants to go and ask about the book. But watch how he's prevented, watch how he's dealt with by the man who just won't stop talking about Israel.
Will your leadership maintain the Judeo-Christian values and the Western way of life?
I'm just going to, as he's talking, I'm just going to give us little insights into what possibly teeny tiny Tommy's thinking, just here and there. Okay.
Will your leadership maintain the Judeo-Christian values and the Western way of life that Europe enjoyed for so many years, and the freedoms that we share?
Oh God.
Or will they cave in? Because
what is he talking about?
When the immigrants come in small numbers,
they small numbers. I can do small numbers.
When they come in large numbers,
they're hard,
they seek to dominate.
Yeah, hard numbers, big numbers.
The question is, who's stronger? Who will win? And will the Europeans manage to unite? To stand against the forces of radicalism and extremism and fundamentalism?
Would you like my microphone, mate?
8 years ago, we have lost 6 million.
Oh, that's a big number. Can I just ask you about?
6 million of our people. Men, women, children, elders. We are a people that remembers.
My neck is really aching looking up at his
what you
bald
see
head.
here on my desk. This
That's
book,
a book.
very
That's a
large
big
one,
book.
very heavy one.
Yeah, heavy, big.
Contains only one word.
Oh, it's a big book for a one word. Oh.
Very small, very tiny, almost invisible, only one word.
What is it?
And that word is Jew. It's written here 6 million times.
A book with the word Jew written 6 million times.
And when you hold it and you realize that every line represents your classroom.
But does it have a good story? Does it have a plot? Did you need to make it so big?
Every page is a village. Every few pages a town.
A book.
It is only then that you realize what we, the Jewish people, have lost during the Holocaust and what it is that we fight for in our one and only Jewish state.
That's no book I want to read. That's a big book full of one word, and it's a book. In another interview, Tommy Robinson struggles again to get a word in edgeways.
Has got a special place in my heart because on the one hand, they really helped give birth to the Jewish state in World War I.
Why am I fucking doing this? Why have I said that I can interview people? I can't get a word in fucking edgeways and everyone won't stop fucking talking.
Declaration, the San Remo Accords, the mandate for a Jewish Palestine. The UK was at the forefront of that. And then they turned on us.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
They turned.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was about to say that, but you said it. Yeah, you said it first.
For they have a special place in hell for turning on the Jewish people. You were like doing this great thing. You were helping.
Hang on a minute. Has he just said us Brits have a special place in hell? I'm trying to work that one out. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Not entirely sure. Is that good or bad?
Born after 2,000 years of exile, and it was, you know, it was a biblical value. It was also a defense for a UK value, but it all turned on us. Can we turn it back?
Can we turn it back? The British government have just turned on Israel.
Oh yeah. No, everyone's turned back.
They've been turning on us for a long time.
Yeah, but when we say they, it's the British government. So let's separate the people from the establishment. If it was put to a democratic vote on whether the British public wished to recognise the state of Palestine, it would be a resounding no.
Do you understand, though, that people may have some skepticism or even paranoia? I mean, you know the history of the Jewish people. It's thousands of years of discrimination.
Oh, I'm in another fucking interview situation. I must put my hands together as if I'm understanding what they're asking. Why am I doing all these interviews? I keep finding myself in these rooms and people are asking me questions, but no one's giving me time to answer anything.
It's, you know, the Cable Street riots, all of these things. Do you understand where that skepticism could come from?
I done the Holocaust Memorial Museum today.
Oh, yeah, I did it today. Yeah, now I know all about it. I know all about the Holocaust now because I've done it. I've done it today, mate.
Holocaust Memorial Museum today. I understand it a lot better now.
You do?
After that, yeah. I understand why members of the Jewish community get so, whether it be protective, passionate, angry, upset by anti-Semitic tropes.
I understand them now. I totally understand it all. Anti-Semitic tropes. Got it. I've totally got it. Because I went there. I saw it. I understand it.
By anti-Semitic tropes. Because things have been said before that, and I think, really?
What's wrong with you? I sort of think, why are you saying that? And I'm thinking, is that an anti-Semitic trope? And then I think, what is a trope? I don't even know what a trope is.
Talking about? Why are you getting so upset about that?
I'm like, why are you so sensitive? I'm like, why are you taking offence? This is back in the day. But now, I understand it. It's anti-Semitic tropes.
After doing the tour today, I understand a lot better from that. But in the sense of the dehumanisation, it wasn't just start murdering Jews, it was a propaganda for years.
It was started with words. Yeah, it was a propaganda. And have you seen that book? That guy's got a book. It just says the word Jew. It's like a thick book. It's like a telephone directory full of words, but it's one word.
Get it into a position, so I understand it better after today.
Oh, thank fuck for that. Thank God Tommy has been on his trip to understand it all more and better than he ever has done before. Careful what you wish for, because when you start to want to interview kind of people who want to just promote the propaganda of Israel, you find yourself caught in a kind of sticky web of, oh, what can I, can't I, mustn't I say? Poor old Tommy, trying to understand. Seems like he's getting there a little bit, but I don't know what that understanding is going to bring him. And I don't understand what it does for Britain in a sense, but there we go. All right, guys, there you go. Do subscribe. Do hit the notification bell, and a home time will be landing later today. Take care, guys.